you know, the score to A Star Is Born. It's osmosis. It seeps in. And I think so much of it has to do with your surroundings. Because if it was really about genes, then everybody whose parents were talented would be talented. And it doesn't work out like that. What works is the decision to work hard and the decision to go for it. Then, if you've got the talent and you're lucky enough to have the genes, then what you do with that talent is what makes it, you know.
At age 19, you became the youngest actress to win a Tony for Flora the Red Menace. Did you realize at the time, though, what was happening to you?
It wasn't like a fluke thing where, you know, maybe it's the difference in training. But on Broadway, to go on Broadway, you train so hard. You know, the dancing and the singing and the acting and the rehearsal. I think there may be a difference between that kind of training and getting an award and going in and cutting in a record, which may have taken you a week, and then getting an award. I think that the just how much you worked for it.
The intensity
Yeah,
of
the
it.
intensity and how much you work for it is when you really appreciate it.
Right.
I have a lot of friends who are in the record business, and they say the first time they won an award, they thought, oh, gee, this is nice. They didn't realize, because they had to work really hard to get the next one. You know, they just sort of thought, oh, cool. And I'm a perfectionist, and I want it to be great. I don't want it to be good. You know, I want it to be great.
Now, this perfectionist in you, has this caused you to, let's say, I mean, just go nuts sometimes?
Well, it drives me bananas when I'm trying to put something together, and yet it's my favorite time. I like the rehearsal process. I like figuring out how to make it work and what would the audience... If I was sitting there, what would I like to see? What would I get a kick out of? What would really make me happy if I was sitting in an audience? So I start from the audience's point of view, but then to get it up there, it's like being a director in film. What I like about live performance is that when I walk out on a stage, I honestly feel that everybody in the audience has been through everything I've been through. We've all been through it. You know what I mean? Everybody's had problems, everybody's coped with them, everybody's making it, everybody's trying. Everybody's living their lives to the best of their ability. And so am I. And that's what I have in common with the audience. And when I find songs that say that, that's when I think the whole thing works. And also having fun. I want people to have a good time when they come to see me.
That's what I was going to talk about. You throw in lots of humor into your concert.
Please, you have to. I mean, I couldn't make it through my life without humor.
So that means when you're with your friends, you guys are always, you know, telling jokes or whatever?
Well, my favorite thing is laughing. So, I mean, it's my favorite release. And I think I will do anything to go anywhere to laugh at anything. You know, I mean, I love going to comedies. I like being around witty, funny people. And I like this kind of silly situations.
Yeah, like what?
It's terribly hard to discuss what makes you laugh, because usually it's so silly, it's hard to go back and make it sound good.
Yeah, and
unless you're a brilliant raconteur, and I am not.
It's one of those things you had to be there.
Yeah.
You had to be there. Katie Lang is a good friend of yours, I understand.
Yes, she is.
Now, when you guys get together...
Yeah. She's funny. She's really funny. She's got a great sense of humor. And she's so talented, and I admire her so much.
Now, recall for me, if you can, a time when you and Katie Lang were together and you guys are just rolling, just cracking up.
Oh, well, let me see. At one point, we were in New York, and I live in New York, and she came and she called me up and she said, listen, I'm going to the Hard Rock Cafe. I have to do this thing. You want to come? And I didn't ask her exactly what it was. I said, yeah, sure, I'll go along. And I went along, and it turned out to be a whole thing against wearing fur, you know, animal rights. And I said, well, Katie, I really don't know much about this. She said, well, that's all right. You'll learn, you'll see what it's about, and it'll be fine. So I walked into the Hard Rock Cafe, and there I am, with all of these people, and all I can think of is, there's a mink in the closet I can never wear again. I worked so hard for that mink coat. This is it. Thanks, KD. I'll never wear that coat again. And then, oddly enough, as I was listening, I started to agree with them. You know? It was funny. And it was a silly situation because I didn't know what I was walking into. And it turned out that it changed my mind about something that now I think is quite important. You know, it's like I have a dog called Lily. I wouldn't like to see her as a collar. You know what I mean?
When Extreme Closeup returns, Liza beats those little town blues.
So I have seen malls all over the country, and I like them. I mean, in a mall, they're like watching soap operas. You could be anywhere, you know?
Watch this week
Behind the scenes
of the feature film Inside Monkey Zetterlund.
If somebody said, what do you value most in your life? It would be my friends and the longevity of those friendships and the fact that things do last and things do go on and there's a continuance, you know. It's just, I find it very comforting.
Yeah, I think it's important because especially when you're out there and you meet so many people and there's so much going on, so much, sometimes craziness.
Sure.
You need to be grounded.
Yeah. And on my time off, you know, I spend my time with my friends.
Yeah, what do you do?
Well, we do everything, you know. We'll go and I live in New York. Mm-hmm. So we'll go in if there's a new cabaret act or if there's a new group of singers that's trying something or, you know, we'll go see everything. Or we'll just have dinner or go to a movie or we'll just hang out. You know, but that's wonderful. And that keeps me going. That and my family, you know, my sister and my brother.
Where are they?
My sister lives here and is brilliant and talented. I'm sure you know her, Lorna Luft. And my brother Joe lives here too.
And when you guys get together, what do you do?
Laugh. Laugh and complain.
Ooh.
Yes.
Liza, you don't complain,
My
I'm
sister
sure, huh?
can bitch for days. She is so funny. She can, and really make me laugh.
Like, what is her, when she gets on a bee-fest,
Oh, when
let's
she
say.
gets going, she is truly funny. And I was with Whoopi Goldberg yesterday, who's one of my favorite people. I think I admire her so much, not only for her humor, but for her largeness of heart. You know, when she won the Academy Award, what she said was just better than anybody I've ever heard. You know, it's just, she's so special. But she said to me, your sister has kept me up late on the phone night after night after night for the last week. I'm exhausted. And, you know, my sister is like that. She's just funny. And she's outgoing and she loves to talk and laugh.
Now, I understand you like to talk on the phone as well, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
So what's the average monthly phone bill?
Oh, no, I'm not telling you.
No.
I won't look.
It's like you don't even want to see the damage.
No, I don't want to know. Every once in a while, the accountant calls and says, I say, okay, all right.
Because you'll be
I'll cool it.
anywhere in the world and you just pick up the phone and call your friends.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I have to do. That, you know, keeps me calm and keeps me going.
So aside from talking on the phone...
I'm big on malls lately. We've just been on tour of these summer theaters, and they're all outside cities. For instance, there's one like 20 miles outside of Chicago. So the nearest kind of civilization to that theater is the mall. So I have seen malls all over the country, and I like them. I mean, in a mall, they're like watching soap operas. You could be anywhere, you know? And they're cool, too.
You're right, you see all kinds of people at the mall.
All kinds of people. And you see all kinds of good stores, too.
Do you see the people in the mall like I do, people who you're like, why is she wearing that?
Well, hopefully she's on her way to get something else. You know, I like to look at the bright side of it. No, you know what happens when I see... I get mad at the sales lady who sold her that. You know what I mean?
It's like, yeah.
I don't think it's her fault.
Yeah, right, because you're
I just get bummed out at whoever talked her into buying that thing.
Oh, gosh. In your concert, you dedicate a song to the dessert diva, Sara Lee.
Yes. Fred Evan, John Cantor wrote that song. And I just thought it was so hilarious. And actually, it was written, it was written for Kay Ballard, and then Kay stopped singing it, And Dorothy Loudon sang it for a while. And finally I said, can I sing it too? Because it just makes me laugh, you know, and it's so true. I love Sara Lee. Oh.
But
anything that Sara Lee makes is perfect.
you do a couple of songs about 3 different women and how they cope with men.
Yes.
Sorry, these guys are dogging us. Now, why did you choose this theme for those songs?
Because I thought it was fairly understandable to every woman, and because I liked it. I like finding songs about a situation where different women come at it in different ways. And I think most of our lives are spent trying to learn how to cope with stuff, you know. And so when I can find songs that describe that, then I think that people in the audience dig it, you know, because they can get behind it.
Next up on Extreme Close-Up, Liza, spreading the news.
Yeah, but the hardest thing is trying to sound intelligent.
Hi, folks.
And now back to Extreme Close-Up, E's half-hour interview show with Liza Minnelli.
Take it a little easy, honey. I mean, this is a short step. It's like life. Enjoy it.
Stop, 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 Jeffrey! Stop, 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 turn! Hey, mister, can we have these? Can we have these? Ah, isn't that great?
Let's talk about Stepping Out, the movie.
All right.
And, you know, talk about what it's all about. The message there and that whole theme of friendship in the movie.
Well, it's basically about a woman who is an ex-Broadway dancer who ends up teaching a tap class in Buffalo. And it's about her students, and it's about the fact that they get challenged to do this show. And it's just a benefit, you know, like a local benefit show. And how important it becomes to all of them, and it becomes like the center of their lives. And I think anybody who's ever been involved in a church show or a show for their hometown or a little community show knows how that can take over. Mm-hmm. But I think the message of the movie, if there is one, besides just having a good time, is that sometimes you can do things with other people that you couldn't possibly do by yourself, like have more courage, like take risks, like step out and do something you've never done before. Well, you know, the limitations that society can put on you are just baloney. Yeah, I think everybody can do everything, I really do. And there are a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
You know, there are no limits. It's also about finding out what success really is. And it doesn't have to be big success. I mean, people have small triumphs every day, and I think that's what this movie is about. I mean, all of the stuff that goes along with celebrity, which isn't really the point. The point is the talent, you know. But the stuff that surrounds it isn't what really matters. What matters is the everyday successes, is the one day at a time successes that you go through in your life. And that's what the movie's about, and that's why I liked it so much. Also, that cast. Imagine, I mean, working with Julie Walters and Shelley Winters and Ellen Green and Bill Irwin and Andrea Martin, who is just miraculous, you know, and Carol Woods and everything, and just, oh, we got so close because none of us could tap dance. And we all had to learn.
And then you took what, classes for 3 weeks?
Well, Danny Daniels was the choreographer, and he's brilliant, and he's strict. So for 3 weeks, we took tap class 8 hours a day. I can't tell you how our feet felt. I can't tell you what a bonding experience that is.
I mean, it's like you didn't want to see those people at the end of the day, probably.
Oh, yeah, but we were all tap, you know, like in the movie, how everybody's tap dancing in their own space, you know, to try and practice. That's what it was like all over the hotel. You could hear people going, 5, 6, flat ball change. It was amazing. Tapping is the happiest form of dance there is. I think because it's so noisy. I mean, it just makes you, it's just so silly that you're making all that noise. It makes you smile. And I think that's why the whole idea of the project came about, because there's so many people who take tap classes as a release. You know, insurance salesmen and nurses and people who need to let go in a certain kind of way and add just a different element to their life. It's very understandable, that whole process. But the hardest hardest thing is trying to sound intelligent. I mean, you know, you're sitting here, you're thinking, this is a movie about tap dancing. It's fun. It's silly, and if a message comes through it, it's about joy. And how can you intelligently talk about that? I mean, you can't. You just have to hope and pray that people like it and they go see it and they get a kick out of it and they want to go take a tap dancing class. That's what you really hope for.
Right.
So to kind of analyze stuff, I'm not very good at that stuff, you know? I'm not. I think the best experience in my whole life was that film, as far as movies go, because of the cast and the director, because of Louis Gilbert. He was so kind and so professional and so sweet, and he likes women so much, you know? And that's important when you're making a film about them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a final question.
Okay.
What do you still dream about?
Oh, everything. You know, I want to do so many things and just do them better than I did the last thing. You know, I think it's all a matter of honing. And as you go along, you try and get rid of anything that in your art makes you comfortable, because it becomes something that you lean on and you depend on. And when you hit the truth, you don't have to lean on anything. It's just a clear straight line like a laser beam. So it's getting rid of any gimmicks. It's getting rid of anything that you know works. It's stepping out, it's taking chances.